Hey, welcome back to NBCLX. I'm Tabitha Lipkin. And here at NBCLX, we want to bring just a little bit of color into your life to end the year for you. So we caught back up with speed painter extraordinaire Jessica Haas, who created something truly unique for all our viewers at home this holiday season.
Jessica, I'm so excited to be talking with you, especially because people may or may not know this, but I've actually known you since middle school. So this really feels full circle. You did an incredible piece of art for us for the election, or election as we called it. And I want to know what you've been working on now, because I understand you've done yet another piece for us.
I chose to do Santa Claus, actually. It's actually, it was funny how I arrived at that idea. I've actually wanted to paint Santa Claus for a while, and I don't know if there's a lot of artists that kind of aspire to paint Santa Claus. He's actually a pretty difficult subject matter. The color palette is usually a little bit restrictive to like reds and greens and stuff. And I kind of wanted to venture out on that. I thought it would be fun to do at the end of the year, just something holiday. I also love doing portraits. And so that's kind of what I did. Just something feel good, just something fun. The video that we did for y'all, it's pretty like upbeat and girly and fun. And so you'll get to see a little bit about that. But yeah, I chose Santa, and yeah, it was fun.
Do you have like a favorite childhood memory with Santa? Where does this love of Santa come from?
Okay, well, actually, growing up, my family's actually Swedish, and so we, instead of it just being like some people, have from Santa Claus, but all of our presents growing up were addressed like to Jessica from Tomten, which is Santa in Swedish. And so growing up, Santa was always kind of like a Swedish thing in our home, and yeah, and so Santa was kind of special in that way, but yeah, like a cultural thing.
What about the power of self-expression through art?
Actually, my husband and I were talking about this last night, and one of the things that is kind of cliche, that kind of phrase that you hear, make your mark on the world. I think that it is very important to make your mark on the world, but I think the power of self-expression, and I really feel like 2020 has kind of helped me kind of get in touch with this, is just the reality of like, not just, making like an X, but what does that X look like? What color is it? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? Where does it live? Like your mark and what it is, and getting to know it. And making sure that you really obsessed with it. Because I think that it's more than just like, making your X, but also like making sure that you really enjoy it, and understanding how you arrived at that conclusion. Because when you understand that about yourself and the marks that you're making, I feel like then you can expand them, and then you can make them better and figure out how can they help society more, or create a better future, or better elaborate the things that I'm trying to communicate. And so I think the power of self-expression is, it's making sure that you're making your mark, but also making sure that you're in love with the mark that you're making. And so I think it's really important to arrive at all of those things and be very well informed with that.
I love the way that you've put that too, because everyone thinks about making their mark, but they don't always think about what color is that mark that you're making, and how are other people going to see it as well. The past couple of months have been so wild for everyone, and I'm sure for you as well. You are used to doing these very big and elaborate events, sometimes halftime shows, tons of people around, and now we've all been inside and working from home. How has painting helped you get through the pandemic?
Well, actually, in January, we just bought like a home, and like then the lockdown happened or whatever. So I ended up actually like painting like all over my house, like all of these walls. And I'm not particularly a muralist, that type of scale, although I love performing like at that kind of scale. Like walls on buildings have always kind of been slightly intimidating, but I just like took to some walls over the pandemic. I was just like, I got some free time. But I think that, just art through the pandemic, it just in that vicinity, and also talking about like the power of self-expression, just kind of topping off of that is just time, just having the time to kind of really, yes, think about the things that are important, but also, that's kind of why my husband and I were talking about like that power of self-expression kind of thing yesterday, was just talking about how the only way that I'm even aware about like the whole mark and being really obsessed with the mark that you're making is because this past year I've really had a lot of time to discover that, man, I love working with metallics. I love texture. And like I have realized if I have a way in some like manner to put pink in something, like I will find it. And it's just like just these weird characteristics about the things that I'm drawn to, and the style that I'm drawn to, and why I am. And a lot of those things, it's taken time for me to be able to realize that. And it's taken time for me to be able to really become aware as to, this is why I like this. This is why I don't like this, and expand on it and grow more in that. And it's really made me really obsessed with very specific details and things like that. And you really just can't arrive at that without time. And I feel like that has kind of been the gift that, art and time and the pandemic has kind of gifted me in 2020.